special thank you to Microsoft, without whose support we wouldn't be doing this today, for various reasons, financial as well. And to Outer Curve as well, the Outer Curve Foundation, who supports the open source community around Orchard. And also to OneStock and Lizette for helping us organize everything. Special mention to Orchard Prime. They helped us design the conference logo and website. Orchard Prime is a design firm gathered around Orchard. They're going to be doing theming, and they are going to build a showcase site, and I believe we're going to be talking a little bit about them as well with respect to theming. So finally, to our two keynote speakers, who are not only an integral part of the backbone of this community, this project. Their contributions go well beyond the framework, the architecture, the coding, the steering committee members. They're also organizers of this inaugural conference, the benevolent dictator, and His Excellency Bertrand Leroy, and his jester, Sébastien.
Welcome everyone. There is more than 70 of us today in this room, which is absolutely awesome. How many did you expect? Like 10?
I was hoping for 40, but
yeah,
but I'm dreaming big.
You're optimistic. You've always been
optimistic.
Yeah. I mean, we're very, very grateful that you're all here today and that you took time from family, probably because it's a weekend. So that is still a small conference, but what is really important is that you guys are the core of this community. You are the beginning of this community. This is the very beginning of Orchard. It's only been there for a couple of years, and you guys have been very committed to the platform, and we owe its growth to you, and I'll go into details about that, but that is the thing that I want to really emphasize. It's that what's important here is the community, so it's you guys. And I will have a mission for you. If we're going to grow this community, we're at a point where it's becoming big enough that interesting things are going to happen, but it's also big enough that the few of us can't do everything, and we need you guys to start building your own sub-communities, your own local communities, where you work or around a module that you develop, so that we can grow further and faster than we are today. I want to start with some history of the project, or some fake history of the project, with some names that almost happened. Being Microsoft, this was almost called this. We could probably make it even longer if we tried hard. So this project started with Microsoft. Yeah. Big thanks to Microsoft, but fortunately we didn't get the Microsoft name. Well, actually the name was chosen at Microsoft, and the lawyers had to approve it, but it could have been called Dioxide. How many of you get this? Know what I'm talking about? Yeah, 2. Yeah, yeah. There was a blog engine that was built inside Microsoft a few years ago that was called Oxide, and it was controversial. And we didn't do the version 2 of that CMS. It was nice, but we did something different. It could have been called that. There are lots of French people working on this. How many French people are in the room? 4. No, but actually we've had some meetings in French. That's how many we had. All right, so it's called Orchard. This is the first conference around Orchard. 3 years after we started building it, more or less. And in 3 years, we've had 12 releases. So do the math. 12 releases in 3 years, that's one every 3-4 months. And we've been keeping up this cadence pretty well so far, and we hope we can continue to do that. Version 0.1 was unfinished, and that's a very important point I want to make as well, which is that this thing grows from okay to awesome. And that's something that we need to understand. We're not done yet, and how many of you have used 0.1? Which is the first version that you use? 1.0? Raise your hands. 1.0? 1.1? 1.4? So we have lots of new users. 1.5? Who started with 1.5? Yeah? No?
We've never used all.
One.
Windows, what all?
1.3?
Say we upgraded.
How many are still running old versions of Orchard? You need to upgrade. 1.5 is awesome. 380,000 downloads. That is quite a number. Not many projects this old do that well. My hope is that before, okay, let's say in a year, we are at 1 or 2 million. This will only happen if we make this community accelerate instead of growing organically like it does today. 425 modules, and we didn't write all of them. We wrote a few, but 425. Well, modules and themes, packages on the gallery, and they've been downloaded more than 2.5 million times. This is an absolutely awesome number. This product, this CMS, has not been heavily promoted. It doesn't have a big marketing engine behind it. It's just growing this way by hearsay, by people using it and sharing it with others. 2.5 million downloads, that is a number that is comparable to what NuGet is doing, for example. And NuGet is all the components across .NET. And they have a few million, they're ahead of us by far, but the numbers are of the same order of magnitude, which is a great accomplishment and one that we owe to the community as well. We closed 2,000 bugs. Wow, this guy closed 2,000 bugs.
I'm sure some of them have been closed more than twice.
Yeah, so it's more than that. No, kidding aside, we have lots of patches, we get lots of contributions, which we really, really appreciate. When you find a bug, if it's an easy fix, why don't you just push the patch? It's easy. It's easier than you think. 50,000 messages on the forum, so I wrote half of them. And Sipke wrote the other half, probably. 650 questions on Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is becoming really important in the Orchard ecosystem. I'm really happy to see a lot of activity in there. And if you're not on Stack Overflow and you have some expertise on Orchard, and you do, I encourage you to go there and start answering questions there, because it's another way we can grow. We have eight countries where we have active communities that have a public website. It doesn't mean that those are all the countries where people are using Orchard, because we have lots more countries than that. We have people in South Africa. There is somebody from South Africa here. Raise your hand. Big hand, yeah. Thank you for making the trip. That's awesome. We have people all over, but there are people in those countries who took time to make a website and have a local community. Who's from Belgium? They are not here. Yeah, there is this guy here. China, do we have anyone from China? Nobody made the trip from China, that's a little too far. What? Oh yeah, who is from the US? Are there people from the US? Really? Raise your hands. Yeah, I hear from what I hear on the TV nowadays, it's the most awesome country in the world. So. We have people from France, Hungary. So those guys here, I really like what they're doing, because they have a local community in Hungary, and they're also publishing a blog post, a blog in English, so that they actually share with the wider English-speaking community and not just doing the local community, which is really great to see. Netherlands, we have, there you go. Russia, anyone from Russia? No, too bad. Switzerland. We want more than that. We want more than that. We need more people. We need more people all around.
Pete's from the UK.
Yeah, I forgot the UK. There is actually a pretty large community in the UK. There is, yeah. We're also localized in 32 languages and cultures so far. It's actually a little more than that. I have 2 cultures, including Farsi, that are sitting on my hard drive that I need to upload, and I'm late, but I need to do that. But this is also amazing, because those are people taking the time to, it's a very dull process to take strings and translate them. So a big thank you to all the people who took time to do that. And we have that weekly thing that I would like to rebrand the podcast, because so far it's called Orchard Steering Committee Meetings, which sounds a little serious. And this is actually the place where we meet every week and we share what we are doing. We are showing cool stuff. So it shouldn't be a steering committee meeting. It should be something more lively, like a podcast, and it is really. So, and again, those guys from Hungary are publishing it on YouTube every week, which is great, so that people don't have to, call at a specific time. They can actually watch it later. And this has been a really nice development. I really like that we are doing that. I enjoy it every single week. And last thing, we have a steering committee. So that's the governance of the project. And it's something that happened almost day-to-day a year ago. The governance of Orchard is no longer Microsoft, even though we're very grateful to those guys. It's an elected steering committee, so it means that we, the community, are in charge of taking Orchard where we want to take it. And it's elected. It's elected by anyone who has ever published something on the forums, which is the widest possible voting community that we could find. So we are letting pretty much anyone vote. And we're going to re-elect that committee in the next few weeks. So I'm going to run for re-election as benevolent dictator. And I'm sure Sébastien is going to run again. And the other...
Lost my party, and more me.
Yeah? Okay, okay. And I hope the current steering committee is going to run for re-election, because it's been great working with them, and I hope it continues that way. But the most important thing is that now we have a conference. We are doing it this year, and we are going to do it every single year from now on. I hope, if you don't disappear into thin air. We are going to be there, and we hope you're going to be there as well. But it wasn't always that awesome. We've had some pretty harsh criticism in the beginning. And you know what? That criticism is mostly right. It was mostly right at the time. The first versions that we had out were, they were just the beginning of something. And we knew exactly what we wanted to do, but it wasn't exactly easy to understand what we were trying to achieve. And because we were publishing this thing very early, it was a little rough. So was it over-engineered? Well, at the time it wasn't doing much, and it had a lot of code. So yeah, at the time it was over-engineered, but I hope it's plain now, that it's easy to see now that the vision that we had at the time of what a CMS, how a CMS should be architected, is paying now. And when we add new features to the CMS now, it makes sense. It clicks together because of those ideas that we had from the start. And to be fair, we stole many of those ideas from Drupal. It was slow. Yeah, it was very slow at the beginning. And that's another thing. Performance is not something that, this is not how it works. You build something first, you build something, and then you test its performance. If you don't have something to test, you don't know how it's going to perform. So performance at the beginning was slow because we hadn't actually worked on it yet. But today, I think it's doing okay, especially when you compare it to other CMSs without caching. We're doing fine. Yeah, it was a toy. It was. Now it's not. I think it's a... I run my business on it now, so if it was a toy, it wouldn't work. And you guys work with it every day, so you know that as well. So don't waste your time. Wow.
Well, was that even 1.0 or was that before 1.0?
That was 0.1.
Yeah.
All those are from 0.1. You can see the date here, 2010. And I'm not showing those to make fun of those guys. I mean, as I said, they were mostly right at the time. But what they didn't see was the vision that we had and that we achieved. I'm not impressed by the project so far. I don't know where that guy is, but I hope now we can impress him. But the second point that this guy is raising is something that we got a lot at the time, which was that we were Microsoft and we were coming up with a new CMS, and we had CMS platforms on .NET. We had .NET Nuke, we had Umbraco, we had Mojo Portal, and a lot others. So why are you guys doing this? Why are you hurting the community? That was the thing that we heard the most. On the other hand, we were talking with those guys. We were talking with .NET Nuke, we were talking with Umbraco, and for example, the guys from Umbraco were absolutely awesome. They told us, no, we are actually happy you're doing that. You're advancing the field, you're expanding the community, you're not hurting it. And I hope that's what we're doing. We are expanding that community. And the other CMS are doing just fine. .NET Nuke has never been as well as it is today, I think. And Umbraco is still growing as well. They've had a few problems recently that were mostly from choices that they regretted, but you know, I think they did the right thing. And they're doing fine. And we're doing fine too. Those are some reviews that we had on the latest release. And the last two releases, I'm happy to say, have perfect 5-star reviews. If you haven't reviewed Orchard yet, and you haven't, most of you, because we don't have that many, please go to Codeplex and give us a 5-star review. Or give us a 1-star review if you think it sucks. I dare you. No, don't do it. So I'm a little sad about the first one because Umbraco has been getting a lot of bad press recently because of that thing they did with MVC, but Umbraco is a really nice CMS. It's very different from Orchard, and that's another thing. We're different. We're doing something different, and they understand that. Very solid release. Oh, that guy wrote that review, so that's cheating. Orchard is getting better. Yeah, I hope it is. And upgrading, I hope upgrading becomes easier with new releases and becomes easier and easier. Upgrading Orchard could be easier. The most important thing is that people are starting to build, continuing to build absolutely awesome sites. This is AMC Theaters. For those of you who are not from the US, this is one of the largest chains of movie theaters in the country. And to see them building their whole website with Orchard is absolutely awesome. Everything in this site is running in Orchard, even the ticketing and all that stuff, right? You talk to them.
I wouldn't say the ticketing, but even the mobile website is also.
Yeah, the mobile website,
the search and everything.
the search when you go to a movie
No,
thing. Yeah.
They are based in the state, you know, whether it's St. Louis in the east and the west. I can't remember. What is it?
I don't
Big
know.
city on the west side of the state of St. Louis.
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Sorry. Yeah. I'm French. My joke.
Spyoptic. This is a very nice website. It's an e-commerce site. This is a business that is running on Orchard. This is done by OneStock, who is sponsoring the conference. And you'll learn more about this site during the sessions about e-commerce, and a little bit as well at the end of this keynote. Qualnomics, this is in the healthcare sector.
And you can thank webattends.com for making it. There are
Yeah.
10 people of webattends.com.
So who's from Webattens? They are very active on Orchard, doing a lot of sites, beautiful sites such as this one. This one is very nice as well. Lots of examples of beautiful sites that don't all look the same, that really have a look, a unique look. And this is a surprise. It launched today. How many of you have heard about that thing? Like 2 years ago. Seriously, we've been waiting for that for a while, and now it's here, and it's great to see that it's here. It has interviews. The goal of this site is to enable you to show off what you're doing.
Now you can do it.
Okay, should I refresh that? Yeah, there you go. So for each site, you can have a closer look. And I'm just clicking on this one completely at random. And so you can see some screenshots, and you can see, in some cases, interviews and explanations on how the sites were built, case studies. It's the site that we needed. So,
Can I say a word? Just to thank Ryan Truber
Yes.
for making this one from Orchard Prime.
Same guys who made the theme for the Orchard Harvest website, and they're making themes for Orchard. They are awesome. They do great work. They are based in the UK.
With Andy Chipperfield,
Yes.
who is a designer from Orchard Prime.
Yeah. So thanks to them for building this site. This is going to be great. And you have websites that you built on Orchard. Put it there. You can
submit.
Yeah, you can click on this, submit a site.
And guess on what this website is running?
Umbraco?
Drupal? No, Orchard. And
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
And guess where it's hosted?
GitHost.
Awesome Azure.
And another one of our sponsors for this conference is OneStock. OneStock is a company that's based here in Los Angeles, and they are doing websites, and they are not just doing websites. They are taking the whole pipeline of selling products on the internet from the website to actually shipping the products themselves. They have a warehouse from where they ship their products. So it's a very interesting model for Orchard. It's an interesting case.
And I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Yes, let me introduce you.
Sure.
So you gave me a very lengthy introduction, so I need to give you a very lengthy introduction.
I'm in a few ways.
Yeah, and about a year ago, they contacted me because they were running on web forms at the time. They had their own system that they had developed themselves, and they wanted to move to something based on MVC, and that was the CMS. So they called me. I started working with them, and it's been, I hope, a very successful alliance. And since then, they actually hired a lot more people from the community, and they're working with some of the most prominent figures in this community. building great things. So, Ylan?
Thank you. So yeah, about a year ago, we were looking for a new solution, and we did. We're a .NET stack, but we did do our due diligence and look at what else was out there. And some of you obviously know what those are: WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, amongst others, and Rocco. And we were very, very, very happy to literally stumble upon Orchard at the time. And we took a gamble. It was a 1.2, I believe, at the time. You guys were thinking about just about to release 1.3. And we jumped in, which was a big deal for us to do because we have quite a bit of clients that we're going to be rolling out in 2013. All of our existing clients and the new clients that are in the pipeline will all be on Orchard. So by the end of 2013, we'll be fully Orchard. So that was a big deal for us. When we first came across Orchard, it's a fantastic framework, but there were a lot of things that we needed as a company in terms of features and functions and modules, galleries, things of that nature that were not necessarily out of the box there for us. So we did reach out to the community and ask them to join us on this journey, or we actually joined them on the same journey, and we just started working together to develop things. So community is very important to us as a whole, from a company perspective. And with that said, I just wanted to keep it a little brief. We want to give back. We want to give back the things that we have built. And so we want to announce that we're going to give back 5 modules that will be put out by the end of the month and be given back to the community. We'll do the release around the same time that 1.6 will be released. And the reason for that is not just to give back, it's also to show what members of the community have contributed, and also to ask whoever is out there in the community who is interested in extending whatever we've done. Some of the things are pretty simple and minor, but go ahead and extend them. We'd love to see what you're doing with it and use it. And so these modules are going to be the custom admin. So it's very simple, allows you to present a custom admin view to your clients. The other, which is actually a pretty significant one, is an advanced step in terms of the navigation. So many of you know Piotr Schmid, who's going to be attending, notoriously late, but we love him. He did the advanced module. He's always late. Always late.
And we always have bets on how late he's going to be.
Right. Mine was 9:15 today, and I clearly missed that by 25 minutes. But he will be here. He will participate, and we're really glad to have him. So for many of you, before we did 1.5 release, there was a pretty rudimentary navigation, and very much the entire community was sort of beholden to and thankful for the advanced menu that he had provided the community. So we worked with him very closely to work on that and build on that and provide some additional tools that we need. 1.5 then provided a lot of those tools out of the box, which is fantastic, and that's due to Sebastian's work. I'll still say that it was inspired by us a little bit, but thank you, Sebastian, for doing it, because it was very, very well needed. And so we've gone through a process of refactoring the work that we've done with Piotr, and we're going to make that all available to the community at large. So with that, the advanced menu will still be good for 1.6 since there's no breaking changes for 1.6, but after that, we're no longer going to support it. But we'll make sure for those of you who are still need it or want to migrate, we'll provide that information for you. We're not just going to leave you out there hanging. Okay? So this just kind of gives you a view of what that looks like, some of the features that we've made available on there, and we're continuing to build out some of those features as well. So in there includes versioning, scheduling to publish, removing items, an import tool, and a bit of an advanced UI. So that's pretty exciting for us. We're very happy to do that and give that back to the community.
The versioning for me is the really nice feature of that module. Versioning is not easy on a menu because it's a lot of content items. Actually, it's not just one content item. And, this menu enables you to prepare future versions of your whole navigation and publish that all at once.
Yeah, and to give credit to Piotr, that was an undertaking, and we really appreciate all his hard work on that. And that is also translated into versioning for widgets that we've done some work on, which will be reintegrated at some point into core. So that'll be really cool. The next one is SEO. We wanted to create a dedicated SEO module. We know WordPress is particularly good at that and has some particularly good plugins, and Orchard was kind of lacking some of that. I won't tell you much about that because I'm going to leave that up to Zoltan during his demo, So he's going to demo pretty much what we consider phase 1 of that. We have phase 2 and 3 already slotted for that, so we're going to continually be adding to that module. And so again, if you are interested in that space and want to contribute to that module as well, we'd love to see what you can do with it, but we'll make that available. And the next one is the layout selector. Selector, not misspelled. Normally it does have an O, but in this case, I think it's a limitation from Git.
Codeplex.
From Codeplex. Okay, so this is the correct name. If it changes, I'll let you know. But the main point of this is to be able to make things a lot easier when you are making choices. So whether that's at a content type level or even at a content item level, to be able to then choose the template that you'd like to leverage. So if you build enough templates in your theme, you can perhaps let one of your clients make that choice at that time, whether it's for blogging or whatever the case might be, or new page creation. So thank you to Sipka for that as well. And we'll be continuing to extending that kind of work. So the kind of work we're doing, we're continuing to grow, and our needs, we have a pretty good long roadmap ahead of us. We know what we want to see as far as tools that we want to give end users. And so we're going to continue to work with community members on that we have been with so far. And maybe we'll meet some others out here who are interested in doing some work with us, and we'd love to hear about that. So I want to just I'm sorry, there was one more thing. We did take responsibility as well for the Discuss module. It had kind of been sort of abandoned out there, and we didn't, orphaned is probably the better word. And we wanted to sort of take responsibility for that as well, and make sure that we'll help out to make sure that we can use it and leverage it ongoing. It's a pretty fantastic commenting module.
It's the magic of open source. Fork it. If you see something that's useful, fork it if you have to.
So more contributions to come. Front-end management. We've been working very hard and working with Nicholas Main, who couldn't be here, who is a committee member on inline editing. So you will see that coming soon. How soon, I'm not quite sure, but pretty soon. Drag and drop widgets. So you can create templates and drag and drop various widgets into those templates for creation and widget pages. And also, my personal pet peeve, media management. I cannot stand that content picker, that media picker. It drives me crazy. So we are already looking at a bunch of solutions to integrate, and then we'll contribute that back. And then very important to us in particular, because of our multiple environments, is how to set up something that will make it a lot easier for us to deploy, a lot easier for our clients to be able to look at a staging environment and decide what from that staging environment they want to package up and then push out to production. Right, so that's going to be something we're also going to be working on and then making available to the community. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to reintroduce Sébastien. And
Thank you.
Thanks, Ylan.
Perfect.
What I find really interesting with the OneStock model is that, well, they're providing work to the part of the community, which is always nice. I do appreciate it personally.
You should.
And they are giving back, and this is really important. And I'm really glad that they are doing that. So thank you.
And Ylan, if you don't like the media management, you can use another tool if you want.
We will.
Yeah.
And we'll contribute.
But lots of CMS. I didn't make it, sorry. So I will talk about Orchard 106. And I have, oh, it's done, sorry. So it's a break. No, I will do it instead. At the beginning, I thought there were very few things for Orchard 106. Who knows what is the current version of Orchard? 151? Thank you. I was not sure if there were 152, but okay, there is a 151 only. So next one is 1.6. It should have been released 1 month ago, and in the meantime, we decided to make a conference. And sorry, 4 sessions, a conference. No, I could not keep the pace with finishing the 1.6. Yet there is already a bunch of stuff which has been done and works, and also some people here are running live 1.6 on production. And for instance, the Harvest website is using 1.6. Harvest website. So it's made with Orchard too, so totally. And I will show you a bunch of stuff that we made and how it works. So first, 1.6, in 1.6 we improved the performance. We will always improve the performance. There is no reason why we would make it less performant. So let's improve it. Or it's not on purpose. This version we made some work on purpose to improve it, and typically for optimizing the widget rendering. And if every page has widget, it will be faster. There were issues, so we worked on that. Also, a big change is going on to Visual Studio 2012. So it's been released last month. Yeah, we are September. So last month, and it was easy and not easy because there are new dependencies on MVC. So we are also shipping with ASP.NET MVC 4 and Web API. I will show you later what it adds. And a big decision also was to remove every sub-repositories for every module we use in Orchard. So if you use the source code version of Orchard, you must have seen that there's a lot of other repository inside. And it
was complicated.
Now
it's simple.
It was wonderful. But I think two people on Earth were understanding how it was working with sub-repositories and versioning, and so...
I wasn't one of them.
So maybe one. And, and hopefully I didn't die, so I could make a switch in time. So yeah, so it should be easier for developers to use the solution. And also it's way faster to commit a change. So, and by the way, there are more people allowed to push directly on the repository, so it should make their life easier. Big change also is that we ship with MySQL support out of the box. So when you install Orchard, you can install it on MySQL directly. I will show you also how it works. And finally, we switched to Hibernate 3.0. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to you, but if you develop modules on Orchard, it's important for you because you can, not if you are a developer, but if you are an Orchard user, it's important for you because there is database caching, at least. And database caching will make your website much faster because there will be no more queries on the second hit of a page. So I will show you also how it works.
And the dashboard will be faster too.
Can be.
In some cases.
Yeah, because database, if the cache module is enabled, it should be faster too. Yeah. So faster, even faster. So let's do some demos. The first demo of the day. Those one will work, hopefully. I'm linked to the latest change set of 1.x. 1.x in Orchard terminology means next version of main 1 version. So right now we are 1.5.1, which means 1.x is potentially 1.6. And so 1.6 ships also with 4.2 mini profiler. It won't ship with that. It's just right now as a development tool, we need that to show you and to ensure that the database caching is working and that the application is much more performant than before. So this one will add a little debug tool to the browser, so we can see how long a page takes to render and how many queries we issue on the database. So I need to compile. Okay. So first I will set up Orchard with a SQL-C database. SQL-C is a local database. This is not the most powerful database in terms of performance. So it will emphasize on the time it takes to do the queries and the benefit we can get from database caching. Okay, Orchard is set up, and I will first enable the mini profiler just to see how long it takes to render a page. So module, mini profiler, and if I go to the site, okay, this is first page, You see 218 milliseconds. This is slower than yesterday. Doesn't like Saturday. Okay, so 200, 250 milliseconds, 200 page. So now I will enable the cache. So it's running an Hibernate 3, and the cache is only enabled with a specific module. And this module right now is called syscache, which means it's using the syscache provider for an Hibernate. There are multiple providers. This one is using, I think, ASP.NET cache to save the data from queries. And depending on the environment you want to run on, there will be different providers. A nice example is when you run on Azure, you can't use the ASP.NET cache because you've got multiple instances. It's a web farm, so you need to share the cache. So there will need to be a dedicated module for that. And actually, I think, let me, it's a guy, a guy from Webcomo, I think it's named Carl, made this module for Azure. It's working fine, and it also works with memcached system. So if I enable it, that's Ylan.
Well, yeah, you know, it's our first one.
Yeah. So I refresh the page, and you see we came from 200 and something to 100 and something. So we divided the response time by 2. And also it's issuing no query at all here on those pages. Okay? So that's the big benefits of database caching. And that's, you can see the big difference in the number because we are using SQL C, it's running locally. So even if you are on a cheap hosting, you can just use SQL C, you will see great results in terms of performance. So that's a big step for our channel in terms of performance, just to be able to use an Hibernate caching, and it will work on all the environments.
If you change something, does it have to go redo the database again and stuff? And if you change it, when you're there,
yeah. So
you'll see the next hit will be a little bit longer.
It should, when you change something, it should reissue all the queries. So the idea is that there is a region, and the region is the tenant, the website. So if you change one thing in the website, it will reissue the queries. So, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. There is a dedicated session for performance when we'll see different kind of caches we can have and how to improve performance. And that's one of the issues. Invalidating the cache and how to do it. Yeah. So next demo is about showing you how to use MySQL as an engine. So I just refresh my setup, and to do that I'm closing this, and I just need to remove that. It's compiled, so I run again, and this time instead of using SQL CE, I will use MySQL. So I should have workbench here, MySQL workbench, which lets me create a database. I have one running already, and it should be called Orchard. I need to start the MySQL. Just can connect. Let me see. I need to start a service. MySQL start. Sorry, it got shut down and it's not automatic. So now I can connect. Okay, and I enter the password. I have an Orchard database. Okay, and there's some stuff inside, but we don't care. So now I'm running the setup. And the main difference with the current version that you will notice is that we have now a MySQL database option. Just to mention Richard Peterson, a Swedish guy, who made the first implementation of this module, and I reuse this code just to make it work in the core of Orchard. And there I just say that it's on localhost using the Orchard database. Local, thank you. User ID is root, and password is this one. I can try to access my email with that, that's not it. And let's call it harvest prefix. I use a prefix because the same database can be used by multiple Orchard installation, and a prefix let me create, segregate every database. So finish. Oh. This and this, same one. Finish. Cooking. So we are late, but it's okay. I'm the next one online, so take my time. And this is running MySQL. And just to prove you, because nobody trusts me, if I go to the Orchard database and show tables, you see harvest underscore everything, which is a table prefix. It's running in MySQL. So that's also a big step for Orchard. For instance, Azure websites come with MySQL by default for free. And so you can have a database running with MySQL, well, an Orchard installation running with MySQL too. And that's very important also for performance if you want free hosting and simple database. Let me just enable the mini profiler just to show you that a database server is faster than a SQL C local database. You see, there is no cache right now. So you see, it's actually quite. Well,
say the number because it's actually.
Oh, sorry. So it's 122 milliseconds, which is the time we almost got with database caching. And actually, when you run a server like MySQL or SQL Server locally, everything is cached. So it's like SQL Server is caching everything. That's like a database cache. So that's why it's the same time as a cached engine SQL C. So this is for performance improvements. What we also have had in Orchard 1.6 is the ability to use Web API. Web API is a framework which lets you communicate with your application, web application, using RESTful queries. So the idea is you can expose specific APIs or specific content directly from your website and in Orchard using modules and features. So to do that, it's working using ASP.NET MVC4 and Web API tools. So I will just import a module. Oh, I nuked it. Let me then get it back. So I will create a simple module. And to do that, I will use the command line. This said a few seconds. So I will just enable code generation. And also generate the module. So code gen module, and I call it harvest.webAPI. So this creates a module directly in my Visual Studio environment, well, in the project, and it's available live here. So what you just have to do is, like in any module, add a controller class. But this controller won't inherit from an ASP.NET MVC controller. It will inherit from an API controller. API controller. Okay. And then we can make a get method. So in Web API, the actions reflect the verbs, the HTTP verbs you can send to an application. So if I just say return hello, and I run it, so I'm compiling it, and my web app is gone. Waiting for it. Okay, so by default, when you expose a web API, the route will be API slash, and I should have it slash the module name. What did I say? Harvest dot web API slash the controller name, which will web API. The controller name is custom, and the method will be get, so it should work. It won't work because Orchard is powerful. Because actually it's a module, and as any module on Orchard, you need to enable it. That's nice because you can have a lot of feature and just, yeah, I just want to activate this web API, and I don't want to expose anything I have in the application. And so in the module, I will just go to Harvest Web API, enable it. And because I enable this module, all the controllers here will be provided to Orchard. And then if I go back here, it works. And you see, I get an XML content by default because I'm using a browser with the hello string. And what is nice is that you can also map, or like an integer or a string, any parameter and reuse it. And by default, again, the ID parameter is mapped as another argument, like harvest. So it's recompiling dynamically the module, and you see hello harvest. So this is Web API. And what is even nicer is that this will be what you will use from your Ajax scripts in JavaScript. So if I try to compose a new query on this URL, no thank you, and I say, well, let's say first I will issue this query and execute, I get the result here. If I say row, you see here, I get hello harvest. This is no more an XML representation because I'm not issuing any accept verb. So from your JavaScript stuff, you can define what kind of encoding you want to get. So if you say application XML, and you re-execute, and you get to inspector, and I should see the result, you see, as XML. So this is called content negotiation. The server will adapt the result encoding transformation to the client needs. So that's Web API. Any question for 1.6? When will it be released, maybe?
Yeah, I have a comment about Web API, something that you haven't shown, which is that it's in Orchard, so you can do dependency injection, you can get the content manager, for example.
This is in my demo, sorry.
And expose Orchard contents from Web API, which is the real value of this. I mean, Hello World is interesting, but this is where it gets really, really nice and useful.
Can you set a custom route into that? Like
Sure.
We have a mic that we're going to.
So no, actually there are two good questions because this is the next step of my demo, which is here. So I will go on with the demo while you ask question.
I was actually going to ask about custom routing, how you set up custom routes.
So let's do it. Look, it's wonderful. So So if you have notes, remember, read them. So here, I can just say services equals services. So the idea is that, okay, inject in this controller an IO chart services. So I can get, for instance, let's convert it to an integer and return a string and say content equals services. And let's get the content behind this ID. I won't do any safety check. I will just return the title of this item. So content.as title part. Okay, let's get the title of the content item just asked. Okay, and I save. And there, it doesn't work. Yeah, oh, yeah. Stupid guy. There's more than that. That's going to put as. You need to use content is what? Content item.
It's an extension with
Yeah, it should give it to me. So what is the?
Shopper will already have.
Oh no, I know. Okay, I know it. Content management. That's in content management. Okay, so now if I say not harvest but 11. Don't worry, I rehearsed this demo, so 11 means something. Hello main menu. So main menu is the title of the thing I just got, which is the main menu. Okay. Okay, so it works. You can get data from and injecting stuff. And now the next questions are about how to get a custom route. So I will show you. I have it ready because I knew you will ask the question. Harvest, where are we? Keynote and routes. So if I take it here and I move it there, so it's like in every orchard module, you implement what is called a IHTTP route provider. And here, the getRoutes method will return the HTTP route descriptor, which is not the route descriptor that you have in other orchard modules, but HTTP route descriptor. A name, which is optional, like in every MVC route. Priority, to say which one will win if two routes match. The template is the one you want. So what is the route? The route will be there just foo. So if I say /foo in the query string, in the request, I should get this controller in Web API, Harvest.API module, the controller named custom. So let's save it. And actually, maybe I will say with an ID. If I say foo/ID, I will go to Web API module, custom controller. And if I go there, this one is still valid. So this route is constructed by Orchard. This is the integration between Web API and Orchard. This route is still active because this is the default one from Orchard for Web API. But now I register a new one saying foo 11. And this works the same. And to show you it works, if I say 99, it won't work because there is no item with 99 ID of 99. Okay. 12, it works also 12. 12 is the page, the home page. Hello, welcome to Orchard. Okay. And you can return complex graphs using JSON or also XML management. And I think I have no more. So you can go with your real questions now.
If you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll pass you the microphone. If there's none, we'll take a break. Any questions?
1.6 released end of the month or beginning of next month. So we just need to fix bugs now. If you want to take bugs, We have 80 of them for 106. If you take one, each of you, I take the 10 spare. Okay.
And we ship tomorrow.
And we ship tomorrow.
All right, great. We'll take a 5-minute break. The restrooms are right outside these doors. If you need to do that, please feel free. There's still